Good morning, everyone. Robin Shea here. This is day 24 of Before the Fork, the 28-day experience. And today is the last day of phase 3 of the program. So this day is, it's another celebration, another milestone. You made it through phase 1, which was preparing your mind and your heart for this transformation to begin taking place. So think of that as picking out your plot of land and beginning to prepare the soil for all of the new seeds of knowledge to go in. Then we went into phase 2 for a good long time. We're in phase 2 for 17 days, I believe, somewhere in that neighborhood. And, phase 2 is all about planting the seeds of faith, getting the new ideas, cultivating the new ideas, leaning into the discomfort. So think of phase 2 in the program as those months that a farmer puts the seed in the ground and just has to care for it, not seeing any result from the seed, but putting the seed in the ground and saying, in faith, I'm going to plant this seed. In faith, I'm going to water this seed. In faith, I'm going to make sure that the sun shines directly on this seed. And in faith, I'm going to be patient and let those seeds do what they are supposed to do underground, knowing that eventually they'll start seeing the signs of life coming from beneath the soil. Phase 3 was all about gentle care of the seeds that are now these little fledgling plants that are poking up, looking for light, looking for the sun, but still needing the water, still needing the care. And that's what phase 3 was all about. We kept the weeds out of the garden. We made sure that it wasn't infected with any kind of beetles or any kind of little eating bugs or insects. We cared and nurtured for this tiny little seed that we now saw life in. So we went from idea to faith to nurturing. So phase 3 is all about nurturing. Today's message came to me this morning hi Marjorie, this morning during my yoga practice. So I get up Monday, Wednesday, and Friday and go to an amazing hot yoga studio. And it's such a beautiful way to start my day. And I absolutely love it. And this morning, I know it's so good to be here live with you. This morning when I am in this practice, and you never really know what you're going to get in this particular hot yoga, the 6 a.m. hot yoga. There's a variety of instructors. They all have their own twist, their own little way of doing things. Well, this particular instructor this morning, she's very, very slow. So when you get into a posture, when she talks you into a yoga posture, you are there 30, 45 seconds, which doesn't sound like a long time, but trust me, it is a long time. But she did, and I've been practicing yoga I'm not good. Just so let's throw that out there. There's not going to be any Robin Shea yoga videos coming out anytime soon because I am the ultimate practitioner. I am learning every day. But what I noticed this morning is that she was giving instruction that I had never heard before. She was giving instruction about body posture, where to distribute my weight and my tension. If I was to be pushing through my toes, if I was to be pushing through my heels, down to the gaze of my eye and the position of my hand. I mean, everything. She was giving little bitty nuances to the postures. And I found myself getting deeper and deeper into these postures and feeling it in a way I had never, ever felt the postures before. Now, like I said, I've been practicing yoga for 10 years. Yet this morning gave breath of new life into postures, all because my instructor was giving me nuances. She was giving me coaching, and I was in the receiving mode, and I was extremely coachable. So I would tune into every little thing that she said. And if I tried it one time and it didn't quite lock in, I would readjust and I would say, okay, maybe she meant here. And I would try it again and I would push into the posture from that position. And every now and then, just like the wave video the other night, every now and then I found the sweet spot. But I was very coachable this morning, and she was an incredible instructor. So the message that I want to leave you with that idea is phase 3 is all about leaning into the practices that we put in place in phase 2. So it's trusting that your instructor, and in this case, I am the primary instructor, but there's so many instructors. Anyone that is achieving anything that you wish to achieve can be your instructor, either through watching them or through listening to them, just emulating actions in their life. But you must be coachable, and you must be looking for the nuances of your tips, tools, and techniques. So go back and revisit all of your tips, tools, and techniques and wonder if there is a nuance to that tip or to that tool or to that technique that would make it, or take it rather, to the next level. That's what happened to me this morning. I took my yoga to the next level. Now, with that being said, does that mean I'm going to show up for yoga Monday morning and all of that be impressed on my mind and I know exactly what to do? No. Some of it will stick, absolutely. But just like the 4 phases of the transformation process, her instruction is going to be imperative the next time. As a matter of fact, when I got into my car after the class, here comes my son walking in the door, so I'm just going to say good morning. Here he is. Hi, buddy. I'm making a video, but good morning to you.
Good morning.
Just like when I got into my car after the practice, I jotted down some of her talking points, some of her instruction. Now, she probably cultivated her ability to instruct so clearly, either from a teacher that she admired, or she was just aware when she was doing her practices what was challenging to her, and she listened to that and she said, okay, now if they push through their heel, they're going to feel it differently. So whatever it was that brought it to life in her, she passed that on to me and I jotted it down. So I'm going to stay in tune for tons of more little nuances to help me get better and better in my practice. So during this phase 3, during today, I would encourage you to go back and look at your tips, tools, and techniques. Maybe it's the 10-minute pause. Maybe it's the some of the projected imagery or process imagery visualization that you need a little nuancing. So go back and revisit and jot down some of the micro moves, emotional micro moves that will add just the right amount of nuance so that now you can lean into that discomfort. Because believe me, these postures that we were doing this morning, they were not comfortable. But with her help, it took my focus off of the discomfort and put my focus on getting better in the posture. So just that shift in perspective, I was able to hold those postures much longer without focusing on the discomfort. And that's what this final phase of day 3 is all about. Okay? I hope that that was helpful to you. There's one other point I want, and this may go a little bit long, and I do apologize, but I had 2 wonderful opportunities, real life examples that I wanted to bring y'all this morning. And the second one is I had a conversation with one of my sons, and I don't want to mention a name, but it was one of my boys, and he witnessed he witnessed a friend of his and her girlfriend have a meltdown fight. Words were exchanged, hateful tonality, complete disrespect for one another. And it was, it was complete disrespect going one way. And he called me and he was very upset about it and just could not understand how two people could, how could the one person stay in the situation, and B, how could the other person validate the behavior? So he was just seeing this conflict, and he was thinking to himself, I don't understand how this person can stay and this person can dish. I just don't get it. And it was a great opportunity for me to talk to him about people being addicted to their suffering. You know, suffering is a chemical release. We are nothing but a chemical factory. And when we're in our situations in life, regardless of how we got in the situations, but we're in these situations and we're creating these chemicals. And remember, I've told you before, like-minded thoughts create like-minded chemicals, which create like-minded thoughts. That is an addictive pattern. That's an addictive thought loop. So I tried to help my son understand that the person that stayed is addicted to their suffering. And either their suffering will get bad enough that it's a life or death break, and they choose to go in a new direction because they have no other place to go, or they won't. And they'll, regardless if this relationship falls apart, they'll repeat those patterns with another person because that's what they're looking for and that's what they're addicted to, these thought patterns. It doesn't make them terrible. It doesn't make them an awful person. It doesn't make them weak of character. It makes them addicted to their suffering. And until they have an eye-opening experience of goodness and possibility and hope, that there's not a lot you can do to break a person's pattern that is addicted to their suffering. And just like the other partner that was giving the suffering and was pushing the suffering upon the other one, they're too addicted to this dominance thought loop. The hormones that are created from dominance, the hormones that are created from pushing another person down. It makes me think of my dogs, Creek and Boogie. Boogie has a severe problem with other male dogs. We don't have any male dogs around. Did I say Cinch? I meant Creek. We lost Cinch a couple years ago. Creek has a real problem with male dogs. So we don't even let male dogs come around the house, or if we do, we put Creek away because he is so dominant in those situations. So does it mean that either of these people are evil, nasty, yucky, awful people? No. It just means that they don't know a better way, and they're addicted to their suffering, and they're addicted to causing suffering. It's all they know. And the only power that we have in those situations is to pray for their hearts, to pray that there's a crack in their armor and a bit of light gets in. But our power of prayer is the only chance that we have of penetrating their life. They have so much resistance to change. And as a matter of fact, my son said, Mom, the day after it happened, they were back together. And I said, I know. That's just how it works. And the only power you have, my sweet, sweet boy, is praying for their hearts and hoping that a little bit of your light can penetrate, or maybe be an example of love for them. But you can't take on the world. You can just be an example of how you want to live your life in hopes that it penetrates another's heart. So those are the two messages that I'm going to leave you with this morning. And I know I ran a little bit long, and I hope I'm not too high up on a soapbox this morning. That's not my intention. I was just looking around, and I had two wonderful opportunities to take an everyday occurrence and turn it around and use it within the 4 phases and the pillars of change that are identified in Before the Fourth, the 28-day experience. So 1, be coachable. Look to lean a little bit deeper into all of your practices, all of your tips, tools, and techniques. Find a mentor, observe, and rather than focusing on the discomfort, focus on the realignment. Okay, that's huge, so huge. Next, are you addicted to suffering? Are you so addicted to those patterns, those loops in your mind that continually reinforce the lesser side of you, the more human side of you, and disconnect you from the joy that you deserve when you're at the top of the happiness ladder, experiencing life from all of the positive, wonderful emotions that are available to you should you choose to look in that direction. So that's all. I'm going to wrap up. I love you all. Live with your whole hearts today. It's the final day of phase 3. I'll be back with you tonight, of course. And then tomorrow we move into the last 4 days of the program. And it's a little bit of a different shift of perspective, but equally as beautiful, and you've earned it. So I hope you're looking forward to the final 4 days. Love with your whole heart today. Remember, allow yourself to be blessed and allow yourself to be a blessing. Okay, y'all have a fantastic day, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Or no, I'll talk to you tonight. See you tonight. Bye.